Are you a coach, creative, or healer looking to overcome mindset and money blocks so that you can confidently show up in your business? Join the Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship and learn the exact steps to see your business grow week after week. This 12-week journey of empowerment and abundance starts in June. And right now, we have an early bird special. It's time to take your passion and make it into your dream career. Join the Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship today. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Breathe More. I am excited for all of you to listen to today's episode because I have a special guest with us today. I have one of my current clients, Lucy. She's actually in my Dream Bigger Mastermind, but she is a soulful entrepreneur who has made huge strides in her business over the last 3 months that we've been working together. And because currently I am enrolling for my Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship, I wanted all of you to learn about her work and learn about what she has changed, including mindset, healing, and the actions that she has changed in her business to now be thriving and so confident and taking up space and having the type of business that she's been craving. So thank you so much, Lucy, for being here and sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So a little background of how I met Lucy. Lucy is a body worker healer in the Joshua Tree area. And back in December, I hosted a VIP one-on-one retreat for one of my executive clients. And I was looking for a therapist to do some body work. And let me tell you, it was hard to find someone. Like I would Google. Obviously, I came across, I think it was your Instagram, Lucy. And I have another client who lives in the area, and she also mentioned your name too. But really at the end, like my intuition was telling me like, go with Lucy. She seems legit. And first of all, one of the things that surprised me was how cheap her pricing was. Because, and I'm going to use the word cheap because normally
Yeah.
I would use like a word accessible, but no, this was like giving it away, right? So I was like, damn, she's only charging this and she's going to come to the Airbnb that I'm renting and it's going to be a 90-minute session. Awesome. So I booked her and then she did the session for my client. My client came out of that experience just like raving and, oh my gosh, like I went to another world and this was more than a massage. And I had a feeling that that was going to be the case. So as Lucy was packing up her massage table and tools, I whispered to her, I'm like, you need to be charging more. So I like,
Yeah.
I Venmoed her like extra money as a little like reflection that, okay, girl, let's get compensated for your value, for your gifts. It is a convenience for any of us who book you to come to us. You're saving us money. So that needs to be reflected in your pricing. She wasn't a client or anything, right? Like she was like a one-off booking and whatever. I had been following her and she followed me back on social media. And so in the beginning of the year, when I was enrolling for my Dream Bigger Mastermind, Lucy was the first person to sign up. And I was so excited that she did right away. I messaged her and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And like even before we started the Dream Bigger Mastermind, I was already coaching her in Slack and already she was implementing it. So she had a head start. But that's like how Lucy and I became connected. And as I mentioned in the beginning, like for the last 3+ months, I've been coaching her and mentoring her to continue to grow her business and become profitable and show up confidently and take up even more space. So tell us, Lucy, what is your perspective? Like that was my impression of you and just, feeling this is something that I always do, by the way. I love supporting small businesses and my business brain is also always going. It's like, if they only made these tweaks, like it would bring in even that much more business. Yet I find this is one of my biggest frustrations that so many small business owners kind of get stuck in the fear, in the scarcity, like having a hard time maybe seeing the value of investing in themselves and their business. So, what was your approach to deciding to join and have me be your coach and mentor?
It's actually so funny just to like hear your perspective on everything because I was going through like my spreadsheet of finances and before this and It's like, Anna would be so mad to hear that the first rate I ever charged was $75 for an hour.
For in-home session?
For anything. I just was like,
Oh my gosh.
"Please take me," you know? And yeah, now I'm like double that.
No, you've tripled that. It's not double, you've tripled it. I'm like, "I hope it's not double. I hope you're charging more than 150."
Oh my gosh. But yeah, meeting you was a huge moment. I feel like following you on social media, because when you booked me, I didn't even like know what you did, and showed up and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a gorgeous Airbnb." And I was massaging your client. And then you started popping up on my social media, and your Dream Bigger Mastermind was coming up. And you were, I think one of the things that drew me in was you were talking about how you had helped people become more profitable, and I do not have a business background at all, and I was like, "That's exactly what I need." I love what I do so much, like, truly, it's the best, and I was feeling so burnt out, and, like, the amount that I needed to work was completely unsustainable. My body was
Yeah.
hurting, I was, like, coming home crying, and just, like, not able to show up the way that I wanted to. Then we had our, like, free intro call, and, I was really nervous about the pricing and if I would be able to do it, and you were like, "Okay, well, if you raise your price, then it's only 2 extra massages a month," and I was like, "Okay."
It's simple math. Like, that is something how I like to reframe the investment because people always get triggered by
Yeah.
that, investing in their business, investing in themselves. And I love to break it down for my potential clients and clients, like to your point, like literally the payment plan, because I always offer payment plans. Like the payment plan would be like an extra session or an extra 2 sessions, or if we just raised your prices a little bit, right? And and then the return on that is so much more than just covering the payment plan. So I'm glad that that reframe helped
Yeah.
your nervous system feel a little bit more settled into taking the leap.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny because I, like, haven't even noticed in the months, like, paying for Mastermind, like, it hasn't been a fear or thought or, like, a burden at all, and I think that yeah, it's exactly what you said, like, the return of it has been so much to the point where yeah, as you know, I'm going to be moving, and it's the first time that I feel like, "Oh, I can move, and I can move my business, and, like, I don't have to be so stressed about it because I have all of these tools, and I've seen how much I was able to grow here that I know I can take all of that and implement it where I'm going next." That's been huge.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. Lucy is a dream client of mine. Like she is when I write down the description of the type of people that I want to work with, the soulful entrepreneurs, it's someone like her who's sharing with the world her soul's mission, which is helping people release, I would say, release trauma from their body through the body work that you do, which is such an important part of healing. It's something that for me, there's a little bit of a tangent, but just to highlight the importance of your work. When I started in my healing journey, it was all mind that I was focused on, right? Like through psychotherapy, through working with different healers. And it wasn't until the last 5 years because I noticed that I was still feeling like pain in my body, my shoulders tension, like still physical manifestations of the residual trauma. And so once I started to invest in consistent body work, that's like it opened me up to a whole other level of being regulated, of feeling even more open, being able to receive and hold more of what I've been desiring. So, point being, her work is not just massage, okay? It's like deep level healing. And so, one of the things that Lucy and I have been working on was the money mindset, which so many soulful entrepreneurs get tripped up over. And this is not any judgment. I went through the same thing. Like when I was first starting out, like I was just giving it away. And in part, it was because I wanted to get the experience first, and it just didn't quite feel right for me to charge when I was just starting out. But what I found myself doing and what I see so many of my clients doing is that we project so much of our own money stories and beliefs onto our clients. And I talked about this in one of our last podcast episodes around that and how it's such a disservice to our clients. As Lucy just shared, right? She was basically giving away her sessions because she wanted to be accessible. Yet, that was actually hurting not just herself, but her clients because she was showing up feeling pain. She was like tired. Not to say that their clients had a less than, effective session, but I want my healers, the people that I'm working with to show up feeling good, energized, that their cup is full, not feeling burnt out because they're serving so many people and at the same time they're barely making ends meet. Like that's one of my soul's mission as well. It's like to get all of you soulful entrepreneurs to be making not just enough, to be making beyond enough so that you can have extra money to take care of yourself, to take a vacation, to take time off, to have a retirement fund, like so that you're not stressed out about your finances. So, one of the things that I do with my clients, no matter what program you're in, but this is definitely something that we're going to be doing in the Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship, is looking at your mindset. What beliefs, stories, past experiences are you projecting and also like playing out in your business? And so for Lucy, a lot of it was the money stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your money beliefs were that you were projecting onto your business and what the new money stories are that have helped you become that much more profitable?
Yeah, I definitely had a scarcity mindset. I had worked jobs where I was never making that much money and wanted to be able to give this service to those people as well. And then I think it was maybe you at some point were like, people make it work. Like if it's something that they want, like they're able to budget for it and make it work. And then I was reflecting back on like my life before and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've totally like paid for Reiki massages in the past because I needed them and I knew I needed them and as you said, like made it work." And I think
Mhm.
that was a good shift for me of okay, I can charge a rate that's sustainable for me and the people are going to be able to make it work if it's something that is important to them and matters to them. And like I offer a sliding scale if they do need help, but honestly, no one has even used it because I think that they see that the rate corresponds correctly with the service. And
'Cause you're getting value from it.
yeah, yeah. And so I think that was a huge shift for me of not feeling like the price is a burden on people. Like, I think that was such a huge thing of like, oh, I don't want to put people out. And instead seeing like, oh no, this is a really valuable thing that's like allowing this mom to go home and care for her kids not in a stressed out way and coming from her cup is full and just shifting the mindset in that way I think well obviously has been huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's continue to touch a little bit on that fear because, again, I feel a lot of self entrepreneurs have this where, well, if I were to raise my price, I'm no longer going to be accessible to my community. And I know for you, that was something really important. And as you shared, you offer a sliding scale. And I asked you, well, how many people pay the sliding scale rate? She's like, nobody, or like, it's been a long time. And I'm like, okay. So obviously, it's beautiful that you have it still there, but let's not focus or make decisions based on that, based on the fear or the thought that I'm not going to be accessible because there's no evidence of that
Mhm.
in the clients that are booking your sessions. So, the other thing is reiterating the importance of there's so much value that you're giving, and your pricing also has to reflect all of the trainings that you've had, the years of experience, like you have invested so much in your career and in your business to become this powerful, beautiful healer, right? And so that also needs to be reflected. And if anything, something that I get suspicious of is when people's price is too low. And this is like sales psychology, right? When we see anything that's priced really cheaply, we assume that the quality isn't going to be as great. And yet here we are, soulful entrepreneurs being like, but I want it to be free, but I want it to be accessible. But unconsciously or consciously, it might be creating a pause in people to actually book you or buy your product because their brain is thinking like, well, there must be something wrong with this, or it must not be as good, right? And then for those of us who still lean in and we're like, let me give it a
Mhm.
shot. And you're like, wait, what is going on? Why is she giving it away?
Yeah.
Right? So for those of you who listen to this, I invite you to reflect on that as well. It's like, where in your business or in your life are you giving it away? And how is that actually not helping those that you think you're helping? Right. And so I'm so glad that that reframe like really pushed you into raising your prices. And so she raised her prices pretty quickly after we started working together. And I felt like even then there was like contraction around it. But to your surprise, you actually became busier
Yeah.
once you raised your
Yeah.
prices. Let's talk about that.
Was laughing while you were talking about the, like, changing the price actually attracting more people because the first price that felt easiest for me to raise was my visitor mobile rate, and I raised that significantly, and yeah, to your point, became way busier, like, going from occasionally having mobile massages to consistently at least having 2, but a lot of weeks having 7, which is, like, just pure income for me, and I think that it was just so funny to see that happen where I was like, "Okay, I'm charging $50 more at least," and people are pouring in, which is phenomenal. Yeah.
And part of the reason is because those of us booking you to come into the Airbnbs, we're paying over 1,000 a night. The Airbnb that I booked for my luxury exclusive VIP retreat, it was over $1,000 a night, right? So having a therapist come to this expensive house needs to reflect that as well. Because again, like those of us booking these type of luxury places, we're expecting a certain type of service and expertise, and that needs to be reflected on the price. So her showing up and only charging 150 or 175 to go to this expensive, there is a mismatch. And so I'm not surprised that once you raise those prices was attracting more people like that are staying at these expensive Airbnb places.
Yeah, and then for my local clients, that was, like, where you and I had the most back and forth because I was like, "I can't do it." And so I started offering different services, like, each month I did a different special, and my hourly rate was higher. It was the rate that I wanted it to be, but I threw in a bunch of add-ons or different things that didn't cost me anything, but that I could do, and people consistently booked those, and I think that was also good evidence for me of yeah, before you and I had started, I had raised my locals rate by $5, and I was, like, so stressed about it, and and then you and I started
Yeah.
working together, and you were like, "No, you need to raise it, like, way more than that," and I was like, "I can't," yada, yada, and anyways, that was, like, my way to, like, meet you halfway and to receive evidence of, like, yes, my locals who live here are happy to get those services and pay extra for them because it's benefiting them, and I think that has been huge for me, especially with moving of like, okay, I can just immediately raise my price and not feel guilty about it and like actually like have all of this evidence showing me that not only is it okay, but people are excited about it and want to pay for these services. And yeah, that's just been so helpful to me. Yeah.
Yeah. It hurts our community when we're not charging enough because it is burning us out, because we end up being in a place where it's not sustainable. And then we have to get another job. And then they don't have access to us. So, how is that helping them? And pricing, there's a balance, right? It's like, but that's why we're playing with it, where she started out in a place where it wasn't sustainable. She was burnt out. She was in pain, running all over town, working 7 days a week. And now, with the slight increase, it has completely shifted how she's able to show up. She's gotten even busier. Like, we want the people that we work with to be thriving. I think in general, like at the core, like we continue to hire the same people or go to the same, whether it's like a nail person or massage or esthetician or whatever service based provider, because we care about them, because we value their work and we want to see them succeed and be thriving. And we're going to be open to paying a slightly higher price because everything is getting expensive as well, inflation, all of that. So, why should service providers not be reflected of that price increase as well? Okay, I want to shift gears to social media because that was another thing that you and I have really focused on, where that's how I came across Lucy, her Instagram handle or her Instagram profile. And we were strategizing on ways to find new followers, to promote her work in a creative way. And at the beginning, you're like, I hate Instagram. I don't like doing it. I don't want to do it. And then all of a sudden, you were just doing it and you were doing it really, really well. So let's talk about that. What was the resistance for social media? Because again, I think that's something that so many soulful entrepreneurs really struggle with and like try to push away and not do it. So why did you not like it?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things around this. One, it just felt like so awkward and uncomfortable to put myself out there, like truly like nauseating. And it felt like a whole nother job. And like we said, I was already burnt out and so tired that the idea of coming home after working on people all day and then like creating a post, like just sounded awful. And so I
Yeah,
kept pushing it off
that's fair.
and then as we increased my rate and that I could massage less and I had more time, then it was like, okay, I'm going to stop thinking of this as such a burden and going to see it as the tool that it is. And the biggest reframe for me was instead of like, oh my gosh, I have to do this thing, like, okay, let's be creative. Let's like see it as a creative outlet for myself and just have fun with it. Like, I think I was taking it so seriously and was so nervous about what people were going to think. And then you were like, people look at it for like 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, you're right.
It's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm like, and I think that that just took so much pressure off of like, okay, here are these topics that I find really important and useful. And for me, like educating is the thing that feels most comfortable. And so I have this knowledge of this stretch or why water is important or how you can be supporting yourself in between massages, just stuff that I think is actually valuable. And so that helped also to be like, okay, I think I'm giving value to people if they want to look at it. And then I
Mhm.
also switched. I was so scared to do reels and to like talk in front of a camera or have myself in front of the camera. And then I realized that one, that they reach a bigger audience. And two, for me at least, they're so much quicker to make. Like content creating, sitting on the computer is like still not my favorite thing to do. But going outside, filming something for like 5 minutes and then taking 10 minutes in between massages to edit it and then writing a caption is so much quicker and smoother. And then watching how big of an impact they made and how many clients I got out of it, I was like, okay, this is like a no-brainer. Like this, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
like this just has to be part of the day. And so now I'm like, okay, this is just I brainstorm things, I write a list, and then like when I have an extra 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to film something and then I'll post it later. And just to see the return, I think is also was a huge switch of like, okay, of course I'm going to do this.
Y'all need to follow Lucy. We'll drop her all of her links in the show notes. But to her point, like her content offers so much value. I've been learning so much about the body, and I love like how creative you are. Currently, you're still in the Joshua Tree area, so it's beautiful. And you don't even need like 5 minutes to film, like literally just 5 seconds of B-roll of just like nature
Yeah.
or a quick whatever, set up your camera on a tripod, do some stretches, like that's amazing. This is free advertising. So, recapping, one of her biggest concerns was being accessible to people in her community, right? Well, this is another way that she's being accessible by giving all of this information for free, this knowledge, these tips, these practices for free again. So, she's still taking care of her community, yet at the same time, reaching new people and again, supporting her business to grow naturally in her authentic voice. And she's not pretending to be a certain way. Like she's just being herself. And that is so much of what I teach as well. And something that I committed to when I embarked on being a healer and this entrepreneurial life of just because I'm seeing other people doing it a certain way doesn't mean that's the only way for things to be done. And Lucy has really just shown up authentically and sharing all of her knowledge, and it's being reflected back into her business and herself and just giving so much value to her clients. I'm so proud of you, Lucy. So, to wrap up, how can people, because I know you're going to be leaving, moving to the San Diego area soon, but oh, and then you've also transitioned your work into other type of body work. So let's talk briefly about that. And then what can we expect from your business moving forward?
Yeah, so I took a new course on myofascial release and have been shifting. I've always integrated some of that into my work, but now just have like much deeper knowledge on it and have been sharing it with clients because it's not as well known, but I think it is incredibly effective, especially, yeah, like I think you mentioned this at the beginning, like releasing trauma has always been the thing that I feel most called to and most interested in. And our fascia is this system that is like just holds so much of those emotions and those past experiences. And so doing the myofascial release has helped me just gain another tool to help people release and access past stuff that they didn't even remember. So that's been really incredible and powerful. And I think, yeah, to your point, like getting to educate people on this lesser known service has been incredible. And especially like with clients who they like really just want massage and like, let's just try a couple things at the beginning, see if you like it. We can always stop, whatever. And then they're like, that felt amazing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's been a new thing that I've been adding and working in, and I'm excited to just like keep expanding on that. And yeah, what was your second part of the question?
And you're going to be moving to San Diego, right?
Yes, yeah, gonna be moving to San Diego, and I don't think I would have felt confident enough to do it in the past. Like last summer in Joshua Tree, I was like, okay, my goal is to get out before next summer because it's just so hot and miserable here in
Yeah.
the summer. And working at a spa and living in a more expensive place just sounds terrifying and like not sustainable. And just, I just, even here, like I work at a spa and have my own business, and the people that come to me personally just fill my cup up so much. Like we are so aligned versus random people who come into the spa, like still wonderful and we have a great experience, but I feel it's so much the difference between them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my goal and like what I feel really called to do when moving to San Diego is to just find a space that I can immediately switch my business to and just try at least to work for myself. And if I need to get a spa job to supplement, that's fine. But I there's no way a year ago I would have even considered just going and like working for myself. And now that I feel like, okay, I have all this evidence of just technology is not so scary to me. the social media thing feels a lot easier. Like my website feels like I feel proud to present it, and all of these reviews that I've gathered, like all this stuff I feel like is just giving me the opportunity to do what I want to do, which yeah, like I said, is just truly like the best gift. So thank you so much for all the influence you've had on that, and like my ability to get to here where normally I would be so anxious about this move, and I feel like so calm and just like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing and it's going to work out, and like I am able to make it work. So thank you.
You're so welcome. It has truly been an honor just to guide you and to coach you. And thank you for being so coachable as well, right? Because that's something that is going to influence how quickly you get your results and how much I can help you. Because you can also have the intention and still not try what I'm suggesting. But I love doing this work and I'm grateful that I attract amazing clients like yourself. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for this next stage. I'm excited that I get to like guide you as you transition into a new place. You are a completely different soulful entrepreneur today than in
Yeah.
February, which isn't that long, right? And so for those of you listening, like it doesn't have to take a long time. So I invite you to join my Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship. This is more condensed and different than my mastermind. So Lucy's in my Dream Bigger Mastermind. Soulful Entrepreneur came because I was coaching so many clients like Lucy in my mastermind, but I wanted to create something, a program that was more accessible in price point, but also that taught you like the fundamentals of having a soulful business. So every week for 12 weeks, we're going to be talking about different topics from identifying who your dream client is, talking about money mindset, pricing, creating your unique offering, and then also like the technical stuff. What software, automations, lead generators, talking about taxes, talking about all the stuff that I didn't know about when I was just starting out. I knew a little bit because working as an actor, like I was also basically a sole proprietor and I had to pay my own taxes and all of that. So I did have some knowledge in that and also from being a freelancer. But there's so many people who have this gift that they're just sharing, whether you're a reader, a photographer, a copywriter, any creative coach, healer, like there's nuances to actually having a business. And that's what I want for all of you, like to have a business that you're proud of, that's sustainable, that's financially thriving so that you can continue to share your gifts with the world. And so that's what we're going to be doing in the Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship. Y'all need to join because, again, this is the most accessible price point that I have for being in my energy, basically, and having access to my knowledge, expertise, information. And as Lucy has shared, like, I'm super hands on. I will look at your copy, I will look at your website, I will, like, with a fine comb, like go through your stuff and point out things that I think are blocking the growth and the abundance that you can easily have just by a couple switches. So click on the link to join us. I can't wait to start real soon. June 13th is the first day. Even if I have some people who have already done it last year who are going to take it again. I have people who don't even have a business, but they want something more than their 9 to 5 job. So if that's you as well, we can come up where we're combining the skills that you already have, your gifts, and come up with an offering that will bring in some extra income into your life. If you already have your business, then let's grow it. Let's get really clear on what's working and what's not working. Anyways, so excited. Thank you all for listening. Lucy, you're freaking amazing. You're such an inspiration. You are glowing, thriving, and I just can't wait to continue to see you succeed. As I'm saying this, I'm starting to have like visuals of like future stuff for your business, which we can talk about later. And then we're going to have to have you back so that we can talk more about the myofascia. Is that how you
Myofascial
say it?
release. You can just shorten it to MFR. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. See, like we need a lot of education on this too. So we'll bring you back to talk more about this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for listening. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.